I may not be able to raise him from 7.99 tremendously a lot in one time, but I figure if I can get him up to 8.99 or 9.99, just try to bump him a little bit each order or something to, walk him up the scale a little bit, so to speak. Or should I just go ahead and go cold turkey and just tell him, look, it's going to be whatever my price needs to be?
Yeah, I think if you have that discussion with them, you're probably going to get about a pound and a half to 2 pounds of breast out of your
Sure.
birds when you part them out. So I think having that discussion with them, you'll be able to get, what you need out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. So give me just a minute here. I'm gonna
Sure.
stream a second, get everything set up here. Stream around 1 second. Yeah, of course, if you have any questions, at the end, feel free to write those in. As I mentioned today, the goal is really just to talk a little bit about um, email marketing. It's not, there it goes. Um, cool. Looks like we're live. Yeah, talk a little bit about email marketing and the best way to do that. And the goal here is really to provide some pointers on how to set up your website or how to set up your email series, ensuring deliverability. And also, I've got a tool here that makes it real simple to write your email welcome series. So I'll be sharing that as well. So let me share my screen, what I've got, and we'll get started here momentarily. Of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to enter those in the chat. I'll try to get to any questions because I'm kind of streaming on multiple different platforms right now. There we go. Let's see. Can you see my screen, Andrew?
I can.
Cool. Okay, great. Awesome. So yeah, as I mentioned tonight, I wanted to talk about email marketing. And the reason email marketing is really important is because it is kind of the number one way to really engage with your customers, to build a relationship with your customers, to tell them about what it is you do, why you do it, and why your food is worth the price, right? Because as regenerative farmers, we need to be pricing our product for what it's worth. If we are pricing based on what we see in the grocery store or based on what the farm down the street is doing, we're not going to be in business for very long. I like to make the analogy that there's different kinds of cars, right? There's very inexpensive cars. There's Pintos, there's Corvettes, there's all different kinds of cars, right? And they all just serve one purpose to get us from point A to point B. So why is it that some cars are priced 10, 20, 100 times more than other cars? How can they price it like that? And the reason is because it is a higher quality vehicle, right? It's made with better parts. It's going to get you there faster, whatever, but it's a higher quality vehicle. And it's the same thing with your food. If you've tried your food and you enjoy your food, you think it tastes amazing, it's better than anything you've ever had, and the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it, it's good quality food. And so you need to be pricing it as a Corvette and not as a Pinto, right? So anyway, that's kind of an aside on pricing, but with email marketing, it's really important to kind of tell our story and engage with our potential customers and the people that are interested in what we're doing on our farm. It's a whole multi-million billion-dollar business with email marketing. There's companies that do this in a very big way. And here's a few statistics that are really interesting, I thought. But it's 4.3 billion users in the globe are expected to use email. That's over half the world's population. You know, and it's expected to keep increasing. So email is not dead. In fact, it's continuing to grow. And the average return on investment is about $40 for every $1 you spend on email marketing. And so that's a really good return. That's because email marketing typically is very cheap. All you need is an email marketing software and you can rock and roll, right? So, so those are just some interesting stats I just want to point out. There's a right way and a wrong way to do email marketing. And I'm going to talk about how to do it. I'm going to talk about how to improve your email deliverability. And at the end, I'll also give you a tool where you can use to write your email welcome series. And I'll tell you what you need to include in those welcome emails. But email allows you to continually market to your customers kind of 24/7, right? It doesn't close for bad weather. It's not you know, like a farmer's market where you only get to interact with your customers for a brief moment on a weekend. You know, you can send an email to your customers anytime, and it's infinitely scalable, right? You know, there's a very minor increase in cost when you send one email versus 100 emails, right? Or 100 emails versus 1,000 emails. So it's almost infinitely scalable. And so it really allows you to grow as your business grows, as your farm grows. There's a couple of things that you need to have when it comes to email. I recommend a welcome series, which is usually 3 to 5 emails, usually about 4 emails in a welcome series that introduces your customers to who you are, what you do when they sign up for your email list. And you need to have a sign up form of some sort. Whether that's a physical sign up form, people can write down their name and email if they're visiting your farm or they're visiting you at a farmer's market, or if it's a pop-up, an actual electronic form when they visit your website, you need to have a method to collect email addresses. And as an aside, you also need to give them an incentive to sign up for your newsletter, right? Because if they're signing up for your newsletter, you know, our email, just like our phone numbers, are very precious to us, and we don't want to get spammed and send a bunch of emails or text messages all the time. And so in order to convince somebody to give you their personal email address, you need to offer them something in return. And so some examples of that could be, you know, a 10% off coupon that they can use, or a free recipe or guide to how to cut up a chicken or something like that. Is a great incentive for them to submit their email address so that they get that as guide. And then they also get a regular newsletter from you, knowing, you know, kind of what's going on the farm. As far as a cadence of emails, I usually recommend to email your list at least once per week. Once per week is a good amount. You can do up to twice or a little bit higher frequency in the beginning when you're sending that welcome series. So you can send an email once a day or once every 2 days for that first 4 or 5 emails, so they kind of get familiar with who you are, and then taper back to maybe once or twice a week at the most. And when you send an email, it's good to include items that your customers are going to be interested in, right? Not, you know, a lot of times we'll update customers with our emails. So like I'll send them an email from my farm and I'll say, hey, these are the markets we'll be at this week. You know, this is what we have in stock. You know, this is our specials, that sort of thing. But I also like to include other valuable information, such as a story. You know, what happened on the farm this week. Maybe it's a detailed, you know, blog post about how we process our birds, or maybe it's some behind the scenes photos, or a recipe. Maybe it's a recipe of how you should cook. You know, 10 ways to cook eggs, right? If you're selling eggs, is a great thing. So different things like that that the customer can find value in just by reading that newsletter, whether they choose to purchase from you or not. So in addition to the welcome series, once you've given those 4 welcome emails, it's good to have a promo series or a promotional series, which is advertising your core product. So whatever the main thing you do is, it's good to advertise that. Whatever you sell the most of. So how do I know what my core product is, my favorite product, my hero product? The best thing to do is look at your sales and look at what you sold the most of. Okay, and then look at what you sold, any recurring sales. So if somebody has purchased from you more than once, find out what they rebought. What was the second item they purchased? One of those two items, either the first thing they purchased or the second thing they purchased or repurchase is going to be your main product, right? And so that's what you kind of want to advertise in your promotional series. Something that's not terribly expensive, you know, for these first initial emails when they're still getting to know you. We're not asking them to buy, you know, $1,000 worth of beef or something like that. It's going to be something smaller, but something that people love, like a pack of chicken breast or something like that. So that's going to be the promo series. And your promo series is usually going to be a series of about 4 emails as well. Now, none of this email marketing, you know, we've talked a little bit about why it's important, but none of it matters or is going to do you any good if those emails don't actually get to the inbox. Okay. There's a couple of different ways that emails works. Okay. So first, the first level is you have personal email. So these would be things like your Gmail, Yahoo Mail, etc., that you would use for personal email. These are okay to start out with, but these are not intended for business purposes. The reason is they typically have limits. And I think Gmail is 100 emails you can send out per day. That's the max you can send. So you can see how it quickly limit out. In addition, because these are set up as personal email boxes, a lot of times if you're sending a lot of emails from these senders, it's not going to arrive at the recipient's inbox. It's going to go to spam. The next level from personal email is you can do one of these third parties, and there's a whole bunch of them. There's ones like Klaviyo, Drip Campaign, MailChimp. There's all these third-party email service providers, and these are a great way to go. They charge you a fee for these, right? But they are going to be able to, you're going to be able to get around those limits and send more than 100 emails a day. You're going to be able to ensure that your email gets to the inbox. They have higher deliverability and a greater chance that your email lands in the inbox of the customer. Another option is using a dedicated domain. And so this is what we use with our software, which I'll show you in a minute. But basically what this is we use a dedicated domain or subdomain that, so let's say, here's an example. Mine would be like jeff@myfarm.com, right? So you can get a name for your farm, a custom email address, and you can set this up as a business account. A good way to do this is through Google Workspace. So Google Workspace, you can set up an email, a business email with your custom domain name, your farm name, and it's like $7 a month, I believe. It's pretty cheap. But Google, again, will still limit the number of emails you can send out. Even with the Google Workspace, I think you're limited to 500 a day, I think is what they changed it to recently. So one way to get around these limits, I should put Google Workspace number 2, sorry. Number 2 should be Google Workspace. And then Klaviyo Drip Campaign. But one way to get around those limits is to have a dedicated domain with all of your SMTP records or using an SMTP server. So this is what we use with all of our farmers that we work with. And basically what it means is you have your dedicated domain purchased through Google Workspace. We use a separate sender that ensures that you get these to the inbox. And the way we do that is we set up records. So these are very important records to have in your email. If you want to make sure your email arrives in the inbox, you have to have SPF, MX, DMARC, and DKIM records. And I know this sounds like a foreign language, but what these are is it basically just tells your email provider and the recipient's email provider that, hey, this is an important email. This is a valid email address. This is not spam, and we want to deliver this to the inbox. And there's quite a few, and I'll go over some other tips to improve your email deliverability, make sure it lands in the inbox. But with these email records, there's an easy way you can do this. If you go to Fiverr or Upwork, just go to Fiverr.com, Upwork.com, you can find people that can set these up for you for a very minimal fee. And they can set up those records, which improve your email deliverability. It's also a good idea to put a picture in your email account. So like in your Google account, your Gmail account, you can put a photo in there that kind of makes it look more legit when Google's scanning that. Putting your address, your phone number, that also helps. Putting an unsubscribe link in the signature is very important. Why would we want to make it easier for people to unsubscribe, Jeff? That doesn't make any sense. We want them to stay on our email list. We don't want them to leave, right? Well, yeah, you're right. But here's the thing. Oh shoot, I should have done that. You have to make it easy for people to unsubscribe. Otherwise, they're going to start marking you as spam. And there's a threshold. If you get too many emails marked as spam, all your other emails are going to start landing in the spam folder and not arrive where you want them to be. So include an unsubscribe link in your signature in the bottom of each email where they can easily click it to unsubscribe. We want to make it as easy as possible so they don't mark us as spam if they decide they don't want to hear from you again. So we want to make that as easy as possible, and that's easy to do. To add that link, usually if you go into the settings of your Google account or your Microsoft 365 or the other ones you use, Yahoo, if you go in the settings, there's usually a button you can click or a setting you can check that automatically adds that unsubscribe link. Another good idea is to warm up your email. So there's a bunch of companies that do this. That's not the best. Like woodpecker.co is one company or one software. And so what this does is when you buy a new email address, let's say you go out tomorrow and you buy a Google Workspace email. If you start sending a couple hundred emails from that right away to your list, it's going to mark it as spam because they're like, whoa, the servers are going to see it. It's like, hey, this guy went from brand new email address and now sending hundreds. This looks like spam. So you want to slowly warm up that email address. And what that means is it's going to slowly start sending emails out to registered email addresses to improve the deliverability and the reputation of both your email address and your domain. You have to warm up your domain and your email account. Both of those are very important. And so what it does is each day it'll start with, like, on day one, it'll send one email. Then on day two, it'll send out 2 emails. On day three, 3 emails. And it'll increase by 1 or 2 emails per day and gradually warm that up. You also want to be sending emails to, like, friends. So if it's new email address, send emails to friends, get them to respond or send it to another email address that you own, and try to get replies. Replies are a good indicator that your email address is valid. So these are just some helpful tips to improve email deliverability. Let me show you what I meant by this dedicated domain real quick, and then we'll talk about your welcome series emails, and I'll show you how to write those. So when I say a dedicated domain, we have an app called App, and it's app.regenerativesuccess.online. Anyway, you can get to this. And so what we do is we set up, this is a whole software that we use for farmers to do emails, websites, everything. But we set up an email domain. So I get to it. And what that looks like is we set up a dedicated email provider such that it sends from yourfarmname.com. Oh, this is a bad example, but it sends from yourfarmname.com. We set up a dedicated domain, and it just ensures that your emails arrive where they need to be. This application has a ton of features. It does email. You can do all your marketing. You can do all your social media. You can have your website, online store, everything. But that's kind of beyond the point of this conversation. But what I want to show you is that this is having a private SMTP server with a dedicated domain is going to get you the best deliverability out of all of these options. So these options are ranked in order of deliverability of your emails. So as you grow with your farm, it's okay to start with a personal email, but very quickly I'd recommend getting a Google Workspace, a business email, or signing up for one of these third-party email service providers. And if you're not happy with the cost of these email service providers, we can give you a dedicated domain that's got the best deliverability and a million other features such as website, social media, etc. All for the cost of what you would pay for one of these providers. But if that's something you're interested in, go to Regenerative Success. Sorry, it's go.regenerativesuccess.net/app. if that's something you're interested in that app. I'll write it down real quick. But a couple more things I want to mention as far as deliverability. You never want to use generic at Gmail, at Yahoo. Again, get a dedicated domain like at yourfarm.com. Here's some more examples of those email service providers: MailChimp, ConvertKit, Klaviyo. Excuse me. Another thing that's great to do is to check your email copy. So you can go, there's a website. I'll just show you what this looks like real quick. It's mailmeteor.com/spam checker. And if you write your email, it'll tell you what words to take out. So it'll say some of these don't look good, and it gives you a spam score. And the reason this is great is if you want to check your emails, it'll say it doesn't like these words. And so if you just change them or take them out, it'll change your score, right? And so you can just copy and paste your email copy in here, and it'll tell you what words to avoid, what words to change, and improves the chances that your email land in the inbox. So this is a cool little tool, mailmeteor.com/spam checker. I mentioned the opt out or unsubscribe link. You can put that in there, or you can have a reply stop. Somebody replies stop, then you can take them off your email list. You want to clean your list regularly, and what that means is any emails that are bouncing, you want to remove. Any emails that are not landing in the inbox, you want to remove. Any emails that you think may be spam, you want to remove. Or not valid, you want to remove. If you can verify your emails before they go into your email provider, email sender, that's great. So here's two softwares you can use: NeverBounce and Million Verifier. If you go to neverbounce.com or millionverifier.com, if you have a list of emails, let's say you have a list of 500 people on your email list, you can run that list through them. They'll verify those emails. They'll tell you which ones are legit and which ones aren't. Remove the ones that are not legitimate emails. If people just typed in goscrewyourself.com because they're just trying to opt in your email list to get whatever, you can remove those email addresses so it doesn't affect your deliverability. So it's good to verify them before you put them in your provider. Another thing that can improve your deliverability and ensure that your emails land in the inbox is sending them as a text only. So sometimes, especially when you're using these tools like MailChimp, ConvertKit, Klaviyo, DripCampaign, they have a lot of features, right? A lot of flowery stuff. I'll show you a good example. Right, so you can add pictures and you can add photos and you can add, all kinds of links and stuff. And that stuff is really cool. The problem with some of that stuff is it tends to make your email land in spam, right? So I'll show you an example here. So here's like one of our welcome emails templates. It comes up. Computer's got a lot going on right now, so it's thinking hard. Here we go. So sometimes people put their logo in, then they'll put a picture of their farm, then they'll write a bunch of stuff in their email, and then they'll put another picture, then links to their website, links to their social media. And that's okay. I'm not saying you can't do that. But what happens is when you have a lot of this extra stuff, a lot of times it goes to spam. So one way you can avoid that, if you notice that your open rates on your emails are pretty low or they're dropping, you can send as text only. Like you can remove all the special stuff and just send the text only and see if your email deliverability and open rates increase. What's a good open rate? The industry average for emails, if you're sending to a large email list, is usually around 30 to 40%. If you have a smaller list and a really good relationship with your customers, you might be closer to 50 or 60%. But as your email list grows and the longer you do it, you'll probably be dropping down closer to 30 to 40%. If it's less than that, then you've got some issues you need to take a look at. Other things that help with email is having a good subject line, having a good first line. So the preview text, what do I mean by that? If you click on like when you send an email, so you want to have a good subject line that's going to intrigue people or give them a reason to open your email, right? preview text is kind of the first line you see. So, you know, you can write whatever you want in there, and that's gonna be the first few words. Like when you are in your inbox, you see the first few words of an email, that's what the preview text is. So writing something in there that makes it look legit, or lets the recipient know that this emails are intended for them is a good idea. If you can get replies, that is really great. The more responses you can get, the more it looks like you are a legitimate provider, right? And you're not a spam or cold emailer. So asking questions, asking people to reply is a great way to improve your deliverability. I mentioned earlier about the records you need to have for your emails, the FPS or SPF, MX, DMARC, and DKIM records. Um, there's third-party tools like Easy DMARC and DMARCian that can do those for you, but again, it's best just to get somebody that knows how to do that off of like Fiverr to do that for you. And I mentioned Mail Tester to check your email reputation. So yeah, so these are just some things that you can do to help improve deliverability. I hope that's helpful. Now, what I'd like to do is show you some examples of what we should write. So what should we actually write in our emails, right? I mentioned that it's great to have a welcome series. So this is going to be a series of about 4 emails that are going to introduce folks to your farm. In our app, we already have these kind of written, these templates that we give to farmers that sign up for our app. But you can modify them, change them how you want. I did say I was going to give you that web address, right? If you're interested in learning more about that app, just go to go.regenerativesuccess.net/app, APP. That'll give you more information on our app and what it does. But these 4 emails are going to be, the first one's kind of an introduction to your farm, right? And so here's how you would write it in an example. So something like, welcome to our farm. You want to start with an introduction. Maybe share a little story about your farm, what you do, why you do it, that sort of thing. Keep it real short. I wouldn't go in too much depth in the first email. Tell the recipient like what they can expect for them. So are they going to get discount coupons from you? Or are they going to get a weekly newsletter about what you have in stock? Are you going to give them stories? Like, what are you going to say? What are you going to give them? So you're saying something like, hey, you'll get a few emails from us, and then you might hear from us like once or twice a week, just about what we have in stock. We'll tell you about what's going on the farm, keep you up to date with everything we're doing on the farm, and just thank them for kind of joining you and joining your journey. And at the end, you can put a call to action, a CTA, which is a call to action. And that is usually a link to learn more. So a link to, visit our store, visit our website, follow us on social media, something like that. Another thing that I like to do is I'll ask them to reply to that first email. I'll say, hey, so it helps improve my email deliverability and lets your email provider and my email provider know that you want to keep seeing these emails. Just hit reply and say hello, or tell me what your favorite food is, or whatever. Just ask them to reply or ask them a question. This will help improve your deliverability in that initial email. So once you've done that first email, the second email, we like to talk a little about, one idea. There's, all different kinds of ways. It's not the only way you can do it. But this is one way that we like to do it, is telling them about who the people are on the farm, right? Who's the people on the farm team? Who is the head farmer? What do they do? What are their roles? And so we'll talk a little about that. Here's an example. Meet John, our head farmer with over 2 decades of experience. He's the heart and soul of our farm, ensuring that each product we deliver is a testament to our commitment to quality. Something like that, right? We also like to talk a little bit about transparency. I talk about how, include some photos of what we do, some behind the scenes stuff, so they can actually verify, like, okay, this is a legit farm. I can see the fields and the cows in the field, and it kind of makes it more, stand out. You can talk about what sets you apart. Maybe that's sustainability. Maybe that's your regenerative farm. Maybe that's because you're organic. Maybe you're all pasture raised animals. Maybe you're just all local. Whatever it is that makes your farm stand out, or a combination of those, talk about what you do and why you believe in what you do, right? And then again, include a CTA, call to action. So again, this is going to be a link encouraging people to engage more with your farm, visit your social media, your website, your on farms or your online store. That's a good call to action. Our third email, we usually like to provide some sort of educational content. And so this could be something about health, the health benefits of our food, something about supporting local, something about regenerative farming, maybe something like that, maybe throw in a recipe, something that just, really provides some value and some education to the customer. A great thing to include is also maybe some testimonials. Say, hey, here's what some of our customers had to say about our farm or the product that they bought recently. And again, it's great to share items with them, share recipes, share photos, share your social media, and include a call to action. Our fourth email will be sometimes we'll give them like a small offer, like, hey, check out at this point, this email number 4, it might say, hey, check out our online store. We got this on sale. Or, check out our social media, or maybe we'll get some feedback from them. Hey, what did you like about our farm? Have you visited us before? Come see a farm tour that we're doing, something like that. And so really just figuring out ways we can connect with them on another level besides email. Once we've written those welcome emails, then it comes time to do your promo emails. And I'll give you an example of what a promo email would look like. So we would promote like kind of one of our best sellers. So we might say something like, here's an exclusive offer. Here's a coupon for 10% off your first online purchase at our farm. And so we'll give them like a coupon code. We'll give them some pictures of our products, talk about why it's delicious, why they should try it. We'll tell them, kind of what sets our farm apart. Are we organic? Are we fresh? Sustainable, whatever it is that sets us apart. And ask them to check it out, check out the product. And we just want to give them one product, right? A promotion is not go visit our store. A promotion is usually one product, right? We want to send them to just not confuse them. We don't want to say, oh, we have eggs, we have pork, we have beef. Just one thing. One thing, whatever your top seller is, say, hey, people love our eggs. This is why. Here's what makes them great. Here's how we raise our animals. Go check it out. Here's the link. Check out our eggs, right? Here's 10% off. So whatever we can do to convert them to a buyer. And then for your next 3 promotional emails, you can talk about that same offer, more in depth about what you do, why you do it, why they should buy it. Or you can present a separate offer, right? You can say, hey, if they didn't buy your eggs, hey, maybe you like chicken. Here's some of our chicken. Here's how we raise it, that sort of thing. So this is an example of how you can write your emails, what you should say in your welcome series. Again, we have all these templates already ready to go for you. If you want to go to this website, go.regenerativesuccess.net/app, APP. It'll bring you to the information page on our app. But all these email templates are already written for you in our app. But I did mention that I want to give you a tool that you can take. So here is the second website I'm going to give you. If you go to go.regenerativesuccess.net/emails. So again, that's go.regenerativesuccess.net/emails. This is going to get you to our email builder. And basically, you're just going to put your information, your name, email, phone number, and it's going to bring you to this email builder. And what's cool about this is it makes it real simple to write your emails, right? So it'll ask you questions. It's basically just a series of questions, So for example, tell us your story about how you started. Why did you start farming? Has it been your family a long time? Tell us your story. What motivates you to do what you do today? Tell us about key members of your farming team. Tell us about their backgrounds, their roles, what motivates them to produce quality food. And basically, each one of these sections is going to be an email. So this, when you when you're thinking about writing an email and you're trying to do it in the email, in the actual writing the email, it makes it hard to forecast what to write and how to write it. This builder make it super easy because once you fill out all these questions, this form, it's going to email you a copy of your responses, and you can use that to write your welcome series, write your emails. So your story is going to be one email, right? So you can make this like the second email of your welcome series. What motivates you to do, how you got started, members of your farm. Your farm practices can be like email number 3. So you'll fill these questions in. Describe your farm. What do you raise? Where are you located? How many acres do you have? What kinds of practices do you use in your farm? Why is that important? How are your practices different from the conventional model, right? So comparing your farm to the factory raised product, talk about that. Throw stones, talk about how they raise, thousands of chickens in a warehouse, in a barn, their own feces and manure that never see sunlight, never get fresh air. Talk about that because they may not be aware of that. Talk about how yours is very different from that, maybe include a picture. I put pictures of like the Tyson chicken barns, all it, 30,000 chickens dying, and then put a picture of my farm. They see, oh my God, those pasture raised birds are so much better than this. It's really a stark contrast. It's pretty powerful. Include photos of your farm. Photos of your animals, photos of your food, your products, yourself, all that stuff, so they get to know more about you. So this, your farm practices, is another email. Another email that you can write is about your products, right? So you can share testimonials, customer reviews. You can talk about your most popular products, what makes them popular, what makes your food unique. Is it the flavor? Is it the nutrition? Is it the, what is it that makes that farm unique or your farm food unique? Talk about any coupon codes or discounts or offers you have. Again, photos of your products, of your food. And I'm gonna be wrapping up here shortly. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and enter them or email me, let me know, enter them in the chat. But if you have any photos of your products, one question I get a lot is, how should we do photos? And the best way I like describe to do photos is of your products, of your food, like for your website or your online store. Let's say you're selling meat. Let's say you're selling chicken and you want to list a chicken breast as a product and you need a photo of that chicken breast. It's great to get a high quality photo or pay somebody to do that. If you can't do that, put the chicken breast defrosted out of the package, out of the plastic, on a cutting board. You can dress it up with some garnish on the side, some parsley or salt and pepper or something on the side, but just have the plain chicken breast out of the package on a cutting board, close up, nice, good lighting, good shot. That's the best way to list your farm products. You can include other photos of like the cooked product, final product, or a photo of the product in the packaging, in the plastic wrapped, so they can see, kind of get an idea of what the size is. But usually for the main photo, we like to put the product defrosted, the raw meat, on a cutting board separate. The next section on this form, this email builder, is for content for the consumer. So you can talk about educational content, what are the benefits of a farm-to-table lifestyle, and you can answer this, write a long paragraph about that. Talk about a recipe, or you can include links to recipes or meals that people have made with your products. So if you have any pictures on Instagram or Facebook where people have tagged you or showed your products, those are great to include in your emails. Utilizing transparency in your farm, so showing photos of your farm in the fields, the greenhouses, the livestock, talking about your animals, what they do, what their names are, stuff like that. People really dig. Talk about the benefits to the customer, right? This is very important. A lot of times as farmers, we talk about what we like to do or what's interesting to us. So we find, soil health interesting and stuff like that. And my wife gives me a hard time with this all the time. There's nothing wrong with including that in your social media or your emails occasionally, but you want to really be thinking about what's the customer interested in. They might be interested in some of that stuff, but what they're really interested in is, how can this product help me? How can you help me? So providing them, culinary ideas, how to cook it, how to prepare it, different recipes, what makes your product stand out, what makes it better. Think about how you can just serve your customer and provide as much value as you can to them. And if you don't know what that is, ask them. Say, what are you interested in? What do you want to know? Just shoot them an email. They'll tell you. If you get a lot of frequently asked questions that customers have about your products, like what's the size? Do you ship? Do you do home delivery? Great to include that in email. Have a FAQ, a frequently asked questions section as an email, and list all the questions and all the answers. So when you're trying to get online sales and trying to turn a visitor or an email subscriber into a customer, you want to make it as easy as possible, and you want to eliminate any confusion. So by addressing these frequently asked questions up front, it helps put their mind at ease. They know how to get it, when they're going to get it, where the pickup locations are, what's the cost, what's shipping, all that stuff. If they can have all that up front, they're to feel more confident about purchasing your product. Okay, so again, the website to get to this email builder here, you just go to go.regenerativesuccess.net/emails. That will get you this email builder, this form that you fill out. It'll go through all these questions. You'll get an email back with all your responses on here, and then you use this to write your emails, your welcome series, your promo series, and the emails you send to your customers. Okay. So again, to get to that email builder, to build your welcome and promo emails, go.regenerativesuccess.net/emails. And then I'll just mention one more thing. The other website, if you're interested in our application that has, all your conversations, your calendars, your contacts, your email provider, your online store, your website, your social media planner and scheduler, automations, reviews, everything that you could possibly want, subscriptions. That website is, where did I write it down? go.regenerativesuccess.net/app to get to our app and read more about it. So that's all I have for now, guys. I'm gonna go check and see if there's any questions. Let's see here. Let's stop my screen share real quick. If you guys do think of any questions that you have later on, go ahead and, you can email them to me. My email address is jeff@regenerativesuccess.com. I'm an open book. Anything about the app, what I talked about today, myself, farming, whatever, feel free to email me. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Jeff.
Not a problem. I'm going to turn this off. I think I turned it off. Cool. Was that helpful, Andrew?
Yeah, it was. I utilize QuickBooks quite a bit, and they keep hitting me ever since I started doing the chicken thing. All of a sudden, I'm getting their mail service, and on QuickBooks, I don't know if they're they own one of the mail services. Like, I don't know if it's MailChimp or which one it is, but I'm getting hit with fire up our email service to work for you, that kind of stuff. So, and I'd actually kind of kicked it around, but I just didn't know really where to start, So
there's a ton of email service providers out there. They all have different features. So yeah, looking around at some of those, MailChimp, Klaviyo, there's tons of options. Our app, we do all the email stuff. The base plan is $97 a month. You can get other plans that are much less than that, right? So you can get plans that are maybe, I think as low as like $15, $20 a month, like MailChimp's lowest plan if you have a very small email list just kind of getting started. and that's a great way to go. But as you scale up and you're sending a lot more emails, they usually charge you per email or per user, per contact. And so that number can climb quickly. I was paying like $250 a month for MailChimp. Um, so as you grow and you get, a bigger list and more serious about the email, definitely worth looking at other options to see, if you can save some money too.
The question I've got though is, like in my case, I don't have really any email. I mean, I've got my contact list, but that's the extent of it. How would you, I mean, would you say, hey, go build your emails and then go look at these sites? I mean, I don't know, does like a MailChimp, will they go out and do the advertising for you, or is it just they only access your list? Or does that make sense what I was asking?
Oh yeah, gotcha. Um, yeah, they're not going to do your lists, right? They're going to, but, sorry. So how do you grow your list? Is that your question? Get distracted.
Yeah, how would I grow my list? Because like in my case, this is my biggest problem I've got is there's only so much of me to go around time wise. Um, and it's not that I'm unwilling to put in the work. I am. It's how would I go about doing it, getting the most bang for my buck without either A, spending tons and tons and tons of money on having someone do it for me, or B, uh, giving up every waking moment I have. I mean, I kind of already do that. So, I mean, that to a point is okay. But is there something like, I guess my question would be, my wife's off for the summer. She's a school social worker. So her and I are doing summer things. She's wanting to do